Well, good morning, Facebook, and good morning, YouTube. Glad to see everybody out there. It is Sunday morning, and although we are going to be having virtual services today, I wanted to have an opportunity just to speak with you live for a moment or two. Also, we've got a thank you note that we've put together to be able to share with our folks who are homebound and in the nursing homes and that kind of thing. So excited to see you guys. I see we got some folks coming in on YouTube. I see some folks are coming in on Facebook. I want to see if I can get, there's the comments. There they are. Okay. So Donnie Billieu, I see you there, my friend. And Jim Thomason, see you there. Good to see you all. Now, if you're on YouTube, you need to make sure that you put in a comment or a like, give a thumbs up. Or you can hit subscribe to make sure that you know every time that we go live. My guess is because you're popping in, you've already subscribed, but we want to make sure that you're doing that. Hey, Virginia, good to see you. Hope you and Bill are well. As you guys are coming in, just a reminder too, if you're on Facebook, you want to make sure that you hit the thumbs up or the hearts or what have you, and make sure you share what it is that you find here if you think it encourages somebody. That way, we continue to push the message of the gospel out to those that are around us. Hey, Rachel, good to see you. I wanted to let you and Joe know I got your card. That was very kind of you. Just a real blessing to receive such kind notes. We've got just an awesome church, and I've gotten a lot of encouragement this week. In fact, all the staff have. I know Lori has, and Keith has, and Dana consistently gets phone calls and encouragements. And we've got a new lady who's starting this Monday. Her name is Kathy, and Miss Kathy is a spouse of one of actually retired Army veteran. He had 22 years of service in. He is now working in the private sector and will be here for probably about 2 years in that situation, or may be able to stay longer. We don't know, but has just gotten out of the military and is now going to be working and living in this area here. And so she and her 3 kids are going to be a part of our church family. You know, Bree, of course, is leaving. She's going to be going with her husband down to Georgia and continuing her education and continuing her life. I just want to let you guys know real quickly up front that you guys have been a huge blessing to the folks that needed to have a good blessing. And so, Bree that came through here, Holly that came through here, they've all talked about how the church loved them, cared for them, and was an encouragement to them. So appreciate you guys and all that you guys do as far as encouraging those who are in our military. Now, I see Miss Gladys is watching. Good to see you, Miss Gladys. Glad you're with us. All right. Well, listen, I wanted to take just a minute. Like I said, I know we're going to have virtual service in a minute or two. Gail Holland's going to be playing a flute solo. It's going to be awesome. But I also wanted to take a moment to just be able to speak with you on a Sunday, because it's Sunday, and I miss you guys and miss the opportunity to see you guys, shake hands, and so on and so forth. Although we don't shake hands anymore. Don't let that get out. All right. So I wanted to share with you a passage, though. And I think last week, if I remember right, when we were sitting on the front porch, I shared with you a passage out of Romans chapter 12. And I'd like to be able to tell you I'm in a different chapter now, but I'm not. I keep reading the same chapter over and over again. And honestly, I really think that there's a sermon series coming on Romans 12, just because it is so full of good truth, solid truth, powerful truth. It is just a beautiful, beautiful passage of scripture. And so I wanted to share that with you just as a word of encouragement. So to bring you up to date, as you guys know, we've been off for 2 weeks just as a safety precaution. And that safety precaution is paid off in that, as far as I know, I've not heard of anyone who has tested positive. I don't know anyone who has had any signs or symptoms. It's a real encouragement to me to think that the protocols that we've had in place and the caution with which Ms. Lori has worked so hard, especially with our children and our youth and that whole building over there. Um, that has paid off in that we've not seen anything come out of this. And so we're excited about that. We're excited that we've come through this as well as we have. And we're just praying that we're going to continue to push forward on that. So next Wednesday, this Wednesday, we're going to have in-person Bible study right here. It'll be in Christian Hall. It'll be at 5:30, and we'll be starting up right where we left off. We're going to stay on in the book of Acts and keep pressing forward in that. Also, we're going to be worshiping next Sunday right here. Lord willing, unless something really changes, I don't see it happening. I think all good is on the horizon now. It's all clear. And so we're looking forward to being able to get together and worship again. We'll have the two services. We'll have the 9 o'clock and the 10:30 service. And I'm just really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be fantastic to get back together again. When we do that on the 30th, then that'll be morning service only, and then we'll have a business meeting that night. The following Sunday, we kick off our Andy Griffith Bible study. And for anybody in Facebook or YouTube who may not know what we do as a church, what we do is we take an episode of Andy Griffith's show, and we watch that. We have a little popcorn. We have a little lemonade. We have it over in our gymnasium. We'll be able to socially distance all the chairs. There'll be plenty of space for everybody. We start at 6 p.m. each night. We have nursery for our children. I think it's 3 and under. And so other kids can just sit with their moms and dad, eat a little popcorn, have some lemonade. They enjoy it. They have a good time. And then after we're done, we do a Bible study based on that episode. So say, you remember the episode with the Haunted Mansion? You had Barney who was talking about, nothing to be afraid of there. And yet he was very afraid. And so we take that time to talk about what it means to be able to conquer our fears, overcome our fears. And so, anyways, we have a short little Bible study, usually no more than 15, 20 minutes top end. And then that's it. That's what we do on a Sunday night. And we do that. We used to do that in the summer, but with this summer being so messed up, we're going to do it this September. And so we'll start on the first Sunday of September. It's Labor Day weekend. I know a lot of folks will be out going to the lake and everything else. But if you aren't, or if you're in the area and you want to come and join us for that, we'd be glad to have you come and enjoy just being with us for that time period. It is a lighthearted, fun event. And honestly, we need a little more of that right now. I think we just need some popcorn and lemonade. I think a little more popcorn and lemonade would not hurt anybody at all. All right. So over in the book of Romans in chapter 12, last week I was talking to you about being a living sacrifice. This is your spiritual act of worship. And I told you I've kind of been reading through this in my own devotions, and this is kind of where my studies have been. Well, when I dig back in, I keep finding more and more in this chapter. And so I'm just not leaving the chapter. I continue to go back through it over and over again, and I keep finding more and more from God as he speaks to me in this process. And there in the chapter, he has this statement. Now, I know a lot of folks key in on that. Do not be conformed any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Again, that's a whole other sermon. That'd be fantastic. I love that. But what he states is this, beginning in verse 3, for by the grace given me, I say to every one of you, do not think of yourselves more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourselves with sober judgment in accordance with the measure of faith that God has given you, just as each of us has one body with many members, and these members do not all have the same function, so it is Christ. We who are many form one body, and each member belongs to all the others. We are not just connected. We are not just simply individuals who are supposed to have an affection for one another. His statement there is that we belong to one another. And I don't know if you ever thought about that, but there's a real power there that we belong to each other. Not just love each other, care for each other, have an interest in each other, but that we belong to each other. We have committed our lives to Christ, and Christ has committed us to the church, and therefore we belong not only to God, but we belong to the church. A lot of folks are in the world right now of, I call it consumer Christianity, where they're shopping from church to church. They're going, honestly, at this point in our world, we're going from belief to belief. In other words, I like this because it helps me. I do this because it pleases me. I do this because it fits well with my schedule that I have. Whatever you want to say, we have this world of consumer Christianity where everybody is saying religion is a plus one. What I am doing is my priority, and anything with my faith is just a plus one. It is power of motivational thinking. It is visualizing my future. It is helping me find some sort of Zen or meditative state. Everything about faith is all about me and what it brings to me. And even when we get into churches, people are asking the question, does this music please me? Do these programs please me? Do these goals and objectives, do they please me? And we live in a very, very consumer Christianity focused idea. And the scripture here is very different from that. Paul's been talking about being a living sacrifice. He's been talking about transforming the way we think about everything. And then he makes this statement. He says, you don't need to think more highly of yourself than you should. He says, you need to recognize you belong to each other. You belong to one another. Man, we need a heavy dose of that. Think about it. If you could just contemplate for a moment, what would it be like if in our world, every individual believed they belong to each other? In other words, everybody in the city knew that what they did within the city was going to affect those who they belonged to. If they saw everybody in the city as family, and so whatever they engaged in, whatever activity they engaged in, whatever business or social movement or hobby or activity, if everything that we did was, I belong to this city, a deep, deep, deep connection point, how would that change some of the actions that we're engaging? What if everybody belonged to the school system? What if everybody belonged to the business? What if you belong to those in your family? We've got a lot of folks who have families and they don't have any real connection to one another. Jesus says, or Paul writes, in the church, we belong to each other. So I saw Donnie Billieu up there. He was waving howdy to Gladys. And Donnie's been a deacon for a long, long time. And as a deacon, he has not just a sense of belonging here, but he belongs to the church. He has this idea that his role in the church is to serve others. We've got other folks who are teachers. I think of Gail Wyatt. I love Gail. When she was doing the Bible studies, just so that you guys know, your pastor was really tuning in with Miss Gail Wyatt's Bible studies. She would do the Sunday school lessons. I think she did 2 of them. And I watched them immensely because I loved her delivery. I loved her cadence. I loved everything about her verbally. Just said, hey, listen, I've got something for you from God. And it was just so enjoyable. Absolutely so enjoyable. And so, when we see these folks in our church, we have to recognize that they have gone beyond just what can I get from church. They are now looking at, my life is to be poured out as a gift in this church. We need that mindset. We as a church are going on to do a lot of things. We're coming on to some big choices and events and decisions. And man, I can't wait to see us break ground maybe in 2021, Lord willing. But if we don't do that with a sense that it's not about me, but it's about the church as a whole. If we don't lose our individuality and find ourselves in the corporate unity, well, I'm afraid we're going to miss the mark. we are called to recognize that the church is not for me. I am for the church. Just as salvation is not for me, I am now given over to salvation. Hey, Rita, I see you coming in. You say hey to Ross for me. It's exciting to know that we can be a part of something bigger than ourselves. Hey, Tammy, it is, well, it's inspiring. And as a church, we need to do that. As a matter of fact, in my startup, I think I may have mentioned it. I can't remember now. My mind's not as good as it used to be. But when my startup, I mentioned to you, I think, that I just finished up a little video that we're going to shoot out to the TV ministry. You guys won't see it here on Facebook. It's specifically for the TV ministry. And the reason is because the folks who are watching our TV ministry are homebound and are shut-ins. And so I thought today, seeing as I've got time on my hands and I'm here in the office, I said, you know what, let's do a video that just says thank you to all these people that are homebound and shut in, who can't be a part of the church anymore, who feel like maybe the church has kind of left them behind and they feel like they're not connected anymore. You know, that's one of the biggest reasons that the TV ministry is so important to them, is because it becomes the only window through which they connect with us as a congregation. And so I was thinking, you know, let's do a video. And so that's what I did. I made a little video, and I didn't get all the names out. There's no way I could give all the names out of all the folks that mean so much to us. But I tried to thank just some of them and remind them that even though they may not be physically present with us, we still are thinking of them. Our hearts are still towards them. And what they have done within our church is still blessing those who are within the church. And why do we do that? Why should we go out of our way to talk with folks who are not physically present? Well, because we belong to them. We are called to belong to each other. God wants us to do that. He wants us to serve one another, love one another, and to have that sense of belonging to each other. So all these folks you see that are in the little chat room right now, they're not just icons. They're hearts and their souls who love you and you love them. So this week, as we go on and we start meeting together again in in-person worship, no matter where you're at, whether you're homebound or whether you're able to get out and join with us, please remember that you are not your own. The Apostle Paul says, don't think more of yourself than you ought. Rather, think of yourself with sober judgment in accordance with the measure of faith God has given it. Just as one body has many members, and these members do not have the same function, so it is with Christ. We many form one body, and each member belongs to all the others. We belong to one another. We are called to love each other. So this week, no matter where you're at, make sure that you love each other. Well, that's about all I wanted to share with you. I've got to finish up that video so we can send it out to the TV ministry and just say thanks to some of our homebound. Hey, Miss Cecilia, I see you, Beverly. Great to have you guys with us. I'm glad you joined us. I see we got some folks on YouTube that are watching. Remember, again, if you're on Facebook, you got to thumbs up it and you can share it. You can encourage folks to engage with you. And on YouTube, you can hit the subscribe button and you can also hit the thumbs up button. And what that does, it helps YouTube know that what we're producing and what we're sharing has meaning to people that are around us. Hey, Miss Beth, I see you're watching. Fantastic. I guess you guys are, I don't know if y'all are traveling this weekend. I don't know if you're traveling this weekend. If you are, I'll pray that you're safe. Absolutely. And, you know, we've got a lot of folks in our church right now that are homebound or hurting. And so let's be praying for them as we continue to press forward. But I do want to finish up by just reminding you again, this Wednesday, we're going to be back in person. This Monday, we're opening up the office. This coming Sunday, we're going to open up services again. And do you want to know why? Because we overcame it. We opened up, we faced the virus, and now we've come through it, and we're on the other side with that clean bill of health. We're going to push on and start doing it again. So it's going to be a great Sunday. I hope you enjoy the worship service that's been put together for you. And I will look forward to seeing you this Wednesday right here at Second Baptist. Miss Connie, it's good to see you. You say hey to Dale for me, and make sure that he stays in line as best you can. All right. Now, listen, I'm going to have to get going because I got to get up to the TV ministry and studio and get a couple of things lined up so we can do that thank you video. But listen, it's been awesome to see you guys. I miss you guys. It's not the same being in this church when it's empty. We got to have folks in here. We got to have the music forward and forth, and we got to have folks loving each other and laughing together. That's what it's all about. Why? Because we belong to one another. God bless you guys. We will see you Wednesday, 5:30, right here at Second Baptist.